Do you think kids that bully other kids should face jail time? Should they be arrested for their actions? Or is bullying really just a cry for help from the bullies themselves? Tell us what you think right now on It's Your Call. It is hard to watch, yet it may be the most compelling evidence against 7 teenagers accused of bullying a fellow student. Some say this is beyond bullying, that it is assault, but others argue that jail time for the bullies may not be the best answer. What do you say? Hello everyone, it's good to have you with us. I'm Lynn Doyle and I am not beating around the bush here today. I want to know right from the start where you stand on this particular case where a group of teenagers, 7 to be exact, are accused of bullying another kid to the point of assault. The video you are about to see is admittedly hard to watch. What you are seeing is 13-year-old Nadine Corey being bullied, pushed, beaten, dragged, tormented, and humiliated. He was stuffed in a tree and later even hung on a steel fence. You can hear his screams, his pleas for help. Police say this is one of the worst cases of bullying they've ever seen, and they arrested the suspects in the case. Now the debate is on about punishment for those tormentors. Are they kids who took bullying too far, or thugs who deserve to be jailed for their assault? If you want to tell us what you think about this, as I said, I welcome you to join in. Should bullies be arrested, or should it be decided on a case-to-case basis? And in this particular case, how would you like to see these bullies dealt with? Do you want to see them put away, put in jail or detention? Or do you think maybe probation's the answer? And what about this? Is their behavior a cry for help from them? If you want to tell us what you think, you can email me directly at lynn@lynndoyle.net. You can also find us on Facebook or YouTube. We're going to hear from some of our viewers who are very passionate about this subject coming up in this half hour. Also passionate on it is Michael Chitwood, who is the superintendent of the Upper Darby, Pennsylvania Police Department, who ordered the arrest of the suspect. And we are also joined by Dr. Jay Carter, who is a psychologist, a nationally recognized speaker on bullying, and an author of several books, including The Bully Caterpillar, which is going to be turned into an animated film. Gentlemen, thank you very much for being with us. I certainly appreciate it. I want to start with you, Superintendent. You held nothing back when it came to this. You saw this tape, you said this is assault, no question about it, and I'm going to do something about it. What was that something?
After we viewed the tape, there was no doubt in my mind or any of the investigators that this was a crime. It was just a matter of putting the charges together. We consulted with the district attorney's office in Delaware County and came up with the charges of kidnapping, assault, criminal restraint, recklessly endangering, a series of charges. And
it doesn't sound like you were pussyfooting around there. I mean, restraint, kidnapping, terrorist threats. I mean, that's pretty scary stuff. When
you look at the tape, it's outrageous that a group of kids, thugs, I don't call them kids, I call them thugs, could be that violent to a young man, 7-on-1. I mean, it's a wolf pack type assault.
It really was almost like a mob mentality, wasn't it?
It was a mob mentality.
When you look at that video, you see that they're encouraging each other on.
Right, and they thought it was a joke.
Despite the screams, we didn't play the audio particularly loudly because we don't want to exploit this. It's very difficult when you can hear young Nadine screaming for help.
Right. There was one point in time where they could have killed him. When they tried to hang him on that fence and the metal protruding arrow-like bars that could have impaled his neck, his chin, his face.
And of course, he's trying to get away, so he could have been injured just trying to escape from this attack. And that's the kind of thing that I don't think kids or thugs or whatever you want to call them, they're not taking that into consideration at the time that this is all happening.
Right.
I'm shocked that they videotaped it. I don't know about everybody else who's watching this. It's like, you know, is this the society in which we're living now, that the kids are proud of this, that they don't mind putting this on YouTube?
Social networking has changed the whole mindset of our youth and our adult population. I mean, you would not believe the numbers of crimes we solve because they videotaped what they did.
So you made the decision that this was a crime and that you were going to treat it as such. Marched the police officers into the high school where these 7 were attending or enrolled and said, you know what, we're going to treat you like criminals. Marched them out of there with handcuffs for the whole school to see. What message were you sending?
I was sending a message that this was a crime, that they were thugs and they were being treated as criminals. And the message was, if you do it, and you're going to get locked up, period.
So is that what you think should happen to not just these guys, but anyone that bullies or harasses or torments? I mean, our jails are pretty filled now with the hardened criminals. I mean, should we be putting the kids behind bars too?
If they commit this type of egregious criminal act, a heinous act, then they deserve to be treated as criminals, and they will be arrested and they will be taken to court. Now, what the court decides, you know, there's a lot of different areas that they have to look at. The injuries of the victim, their criminal records, was a weapon used, because initially I wanted to charge them as adults, but they didn't fit the criteria, so we had to leave it in the juvenile justice system.
I want to bring Dr. Carter in here because there are people, I got a lot of response on my Facebook inquiry that said, you know what, let's not forget we're dealing with other kids, and maybe they were influenced by their environment, by peer pressure, by feeling like they had to. In fact, I understand that one of the suspects, when he was going to be arrested, was almost physically sick at the idea that he had never done anything like this. Are we forgetting that they're just kids involved?
Yes, they are just kids, and they're probably kids that don't have anyone giving them good direction. And so they're going to their peers for that direction. The lead peer here obviously gave bad direction, but they're followers. A lot of them are followers, and they don't want to get beat up either. They don't want to be bullied, so they go along, and that's one of the problems. You know, they need mentors. If you're going to help them, they would need mentoring, somebody active in their life that really cares about them.
Is jail the answer, though, or do you think that this is, in fact, a cry for help?
This particular case was pretty nasty, so yeah, I think you have to really make the point. Other cases where a kid pushes another kid in the schoolyard and things like that, that doesn't need jail, but it needs immediate consequences.
So there needs to be some penalty, but it may also be a cry for help.
Yes.
Okay.
And also it's an indication, you know, immediate consequences, plus you realize that this kid needs something.
Okay, on that note, I have invited our viewers to join in and tell us what they think about this case, or perhaps to share their personal bullying experience. We're going to go to the telephone lines now and hear from some of them. I understand Steve is on the line with us?
Yes, hello, Lynn.
Hi, Steve, how are you?
Doing well today in Nashville, thank you.
Oh, I'm glad to have you with us. Now, I understand that as a child that you were frequently bullied?
Yes, I sort of had the triple whammy. I was the fat, smart kid with a very serious born-again Christian mother who preached, yelled, screamed, and hollered, turn the other cheek.
Oh, and how difficult did that make your younger years then?
Phenomenally difficult. I mean, really, really bad. I dreaded going to school. I was lucky I was a good student and have this memory thing that I was born with, so I didn't really have to study or anything, and I just sort of breezed through, but oh boy, it was awful. I got beat up a few times every week.
I was just going to ask if you could give us an idea. I mean, was this physical torment? Was it verbal? You know, was it constant?
Well, it was the fat kid means I've heard every fat joke in the world many times, and actually thought of doing a book of them. But